Welcome to the MS-Perspektive podcast. Perspective with a K, as I'm German. I'm Nele Handwerker, MS patient, patient advocate and author. I'm bringing you interviews, inspiration and information about living with multiple sclerosis and show you ways how you can positively influence the disease and make the best out of your diagnosis. On ms-perspektive.com, you will find the show notes, 11 free tips as a PDF, and lots of other information. And now the show begins.
This podcast is supported by Mid-Mission, a project of the nonprofit Hertie Foundation.
Thanks for tuning in again, and welcome to episode number 59, Scoring for Science, the Dank MS Fundraiser with Blake Arnett. Blake Arnett is founder of the Dank MS Fundraiser and Heart of Hope, and a UCLA basketball alumni. He lives in Orange County, California, in the United States, and now enjoys the interview. Hello, Blake. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show today, and a nice and warm hello to Los Angeles greater area. You said, I think, Orange County.
Yes. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
And before we actually start with the interview, it would be lovely if you could introduce yourself to the audience so they know who is with me today on the show.
Of course. So I'll give a quick highlight of myself. My name is Blake Arnett. I went to UCLA. I played basketball there. My mom was diagnosed with MS when I was a junior in high school. And unfortunately, she passed away only 2 years later due to MS complications. And so after that, obviously, me and my family were pretty devastated. We went to walk MS and bike MS as a family. But I thought to myself, with my background in basketball, sports coaching, and entrepreneurship, why don't I create my own event from scratch and raise as much money as possible? I really had nothing to lose. And so that's where the idea of Dunk MS came to mind for me in 2018, was our first event. And we raised $45,000 in my first year. So I knew I had something special here. And so ever since then, and ever since kind of my mom passed, finding a cure for MS and helping those affected by the disease is my life mission. And I'm not going to stop until we find a cure. And I'll give more details as we go along here. But yeah, that's a little level.
It's really great, and it's a very, very successful start. But let's dive a little bit into the history, why you got motivated. So when was your mom diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and what led to it? Yeah,
so in 2007, when I was a junior in high school, it came out of the blue. She worked in the medical field, so she was a pharmaceutical sales rep and also had a nursing career. And so, she knew that field. And so we hadn't heard about MS until she got diagnosed. And so there's a kind of, obviously a new thing and a shock to the family. So we learned a lot, that year that she was diagnosed.
And did she have any previous symptoms that in retrospect were related to multiple sclerosis?
Not that I recall. But once she did get diagnosed, it was a pretty dramatic, difference. So I always tell the story. She used to drive fast on the freeway, and then as her diagnosis happened, and as the year even went on, she couldn't drive anymore. The doctors, her neurologist told her she couldn't drive. Obviously, as you all know, losing her cognitive skills, lesions in her brain, a lot of pain, and so she ended up being somewhat mobile, but in a walker most of the time. Mm-hmm. Luckily, not a wheelchair, but there was definitely a sharp decline there. I would have to take her to her doctor appointments when I was home for the summer or on weekends. Obviously, the family helped out there as well, but yeah, pretty fast decline, unfortunately, that we saw.
Okay, which is normally not happen that often, but yeah, unfortunately, it seemed to happen for your mom. How were you feeling about the diagnosis, and what was it like for your mom and your other family members?
Yeah, good question. It was tough, right? It was all new, so we're all trying to figure out what this disease was, right? And me, I was only 17, 18 years old. I didn't have the full context as a grown adult like I am today. But I know my stepdad, my dad, my sister, and our family tried to kind of just understand what the disease was, get out in the community, learn about it, learn from her doctors as well. I know back then, the medication's a lot better today, but back in 2007 and 9, I remember she was taking, I want to say 10 to 15 pills a day for MS, and eventually had a pain patch that I know that she wore towards the end of her life. So I know, talking to a lot of MS warriors today, the medication is a lot more effective and better, which is great to hear, which is what Dunk MS, which is what we help fund, is research to find a cure.
Yes, and I heard already some members from UCLA and are waiting for some others to interview.
Nice.
I think they really are good in MS research. How did the MS development? Do you have an idea what led to her death? Was it, I don't know, some kind of infection and she couldn't breathe, or I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was some. What we were told from the doctors and the, I think the state or the county is just kind of, they kept it simple, I guess, was just MS complications. We don't know if it was a mix of the medications along with the pain patch, or the dose of the pain patch was too high. We tried to look into it after she had passed, but at least in the U.S., it's hard to bring any case legally against a doctor, and it's pretty complicated. So it was one of those things that you kind of have to deal with, to live with, to kind of pray about, and just know that she's in a better place and not in pain anymore. That at least helped me get through things over time. So, but yeah, unfortunately, not a great or detailed answer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk a bit more about the positive things about your Dunk MS fundraising event for MS research. You already mentioned when you decided to start fundraising the campaign. But maybe explain 2000. So it would be 2009 to 2018, I guess. Your mom had 2 years MS, quite roundabout. Correct. So how did that idea, let's say, came up in your mind, and when did you decide that, okay, I really go for it? It's not just an idea, I make it reality.
Yeah. That's the hardest part, right, is actually doing it. So after she passed in 2009, I know we had done Walk MS, Bike MS for years after that, right? 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I just, we're doing these events, we're raising maybe a couple $1,000s as a family. I just thought to myself, after all these years, my mom was my best friend. I want to do more. And so with my entrepreneurship background, I thought of what is a unique event that hasn't been done before, that me, myself, have the unique ability to do in my spare time, right? I work in the startup world, but can I do something in my spare time? And so I thought the idea really kind of came to me in 2017. And so I took about a year to research how to create a charity event. I made connections in the MS community at UCLA Health, MS Society, asked them kind of some tips and some pointers, and just kind of formulated my idea. So the event on a high level for the audience to understand, it's a kids basketball clinic for about an hour and a half. And during that kids clinic, we have sponsor tables, raffle prizes, virtual silent auction. We have an orange carpet and a kind of a photo booth. We have free food, a DJ. And so the goal is to make it a fun event for not just kids who like basketball, but for adults, for people who do not have kids, for the MS community. And then the main event, though, is the pro dunk show. So I get pro dunkers to come out and do an amazing dunk show for the whole crowd to watch. I also have an MS doctor speak at the event to educate the crowd as well. And so Dr. Voskel, who is a world-renowned MS researcher at UCLA Health, has been with us from day one. She usually comes to the event and speaks. We have our host interview her. And so it's really a mix of sports, MS community, and just a fun family event. So I kind of formulated all that for a year and made it happen in 2018 as our first year.
Fantastic. Yes, I saw Rhonda Voskuhl at Ectrims in Milan last year, and I want to have her on the show regarding menopause. Yes. So I'm still trying to get her on menopause and MS, chasing her. I think I will.
I can do an email intro for you too. We become friends over the years, and she's great.
Yes, and Damien mentions that she is a big basketball fan. Yes, when I had him on the interview, fantastic. Yes. So, how many donations have you collected so far and forwarded to UCLA for research purposes? And can you tell us more about the upcoming event?
Yeah, we've raised a total of over $250,000 in our first 4 years, or 5 years now. And so at first the money was going to MS Society, Cedars-Sinai, and UCLA Health. So I had to, as we were growing, I had to decide, let me choose one main partner and give the bulk of our donations there. And so after, I believe, year 2, it was only UCLA Health. So I know we've given over, I want to say, $75,000 directly to Dr. Voskuhl and her world-renowned MS research program.
Fantastic.
And our goal this year is to raise over $100,000. So
fingers crossed.
Pumping it up every year. That's the goal here. So yeah,
that's really a lot, especially coming from Germany, where fundraising is not that popular. Unfortunately, I mean, government is taking more care of things, so it's just a different situation. Yeah. But of course, it would be good if fundraising plays a bigger role, and society is trying to start it a bit more.
Yeah. Maybe we get Dunk MS out there in Switzerland or Germany in 1 year.
Yeah, probably we would need to switch it to soccer. But yeah, because it's more popular, but basketball is popular as well. So who would benefit most from attending this event, and what can participants expect in terms of activities and engagement? You mentioned already a lot, but maybe some more things to add.
Yeah, good question. So it's again, it's a mix. So definitely, obviously, like the basketball community, kids who play basketball, and people who like basketball, right, to watch the dunkers. But I also want to make sure that the MS community feels welcome, and they don't have to like basketball to come to our event. So, like I mentioned, we have sponsor tables, we have kind of free sponsor giveaways. We have a wellness center, and so this is where
for the ladies.
Yeah, we have free massages for everyone. We have one of our sponsors is doing a little kind of fitness area. And then a new thing this year that I'm actually adding in, that we're in talks right now as a team, is I'm calling it the MS Community Zone. We're going to have a private room and space for the MS community to connect with each other, to learn from each other, and to feel a sense of community. And so I'm going to have an MS influencer or two lead that kind of discussion, and have everyone who attends that part of the event to feel welcome and just connect on a personal level. So I think that I've learned that people want that. And so outside of the DJ and the loud noise, they can go into a nice quiet room and connect with each other.
That's good. Yes, very popular here as well. People want to talk to others, because then you don't feel that lonely, and you don't feel lonely with your problems, your issues, and maybe you can share some things how you can overcome hurdles. Also, makes totally sense. How do you balance the informational and fun aspects of the events to cater a diverse audience?
Yeah, that's always a tricky part, right? So I can't go too much on either side. So it has to be in the middle a bit. And so what I do is I have our host interview Dr. Voskuhl and other UCLA MS doctors in the middle of the event. And so I'll have the kids clinic. We'll do water breaks for the kids. DJ will dim the music, and then we'll have our host say, "Hey, everyone, pay attention. We're going to learn about MS, and we have a world-renowned doctor, Dr. Voskuhl here." And then she interviews her for about 5 to 10 minutes in front of the whole crowd. And so we'll ask her, can you explain what MS is? Because we can't assume everyone at the event knows what MS is. And so we have kind of general questions. We ask her, what is the detailed research at UCLA Health? Like the funds from this event, how does it help you in your program? And so we have that for the entire crowd. Again, it can't be too long where it's kind of dragged out, but I think it's important to have it, obviously, because that is why we are here, right? It's important to understand why we're all here at the event and where the funds are going to. And then on top of that, like I mentioned, now we have the MS community zone for the MS community to kind of during the event by themselves go and connect and learn outside, of the basketball clinic. So that's how I can balance things out there.
Yeah, sounds good. And of course, it would be very helpful if people just get diagnosed early on, because then you can do way more than, I don't know, getting the diagnosis 10 years into the disease.
Exactly.
So it's important. And if people just have it in the back of their mind, connected with some fun aspects of seeing people doing amazing dunkings. I mean, I watched your YouTube channel or the YouTube videos. I don't know if it's a whole channel. But it was fun to watch, and it's always nice if you have the combination of something positive and something informative.
Yeah.
So looking back at previous years, how has the event been received by attendees, and what memorable moments stand out to you?
Yeah, I've got a lot of great feedback. There's really no event like this, to my knowledge, in the world that has a kind of a charity dunk show mixed with MS community and kids clinic, and so. I'm really honored that I get so much help every year to make this event happen. It's like a dream come true for me every year. And so it's a very unique event, nothing like it in the world. And then, sorry, what was the second part of the question?
Maybe if you can, I don't know, share some memorable moments or a story or.
Yeah. At least on the MS side, I didn't know this. There are a few kind of MS influencers on Instagram that are in the LA or California, Southern California area. And they know each other. They follow each other on Instagram, but they had never met in person. A lot of them have met at Dunk MS 2 years ago and now have become friends in real life. And so it was really cool for me to hear that it's kind of like a MS networking event as well. And now the friendships have been made from that. So that was a really special thing that I heard.
That's cool. Are there any specific MS projects at UCLA that are particularly close to your heart and that you would like to support?
I would say just really honestly, Dr. Boskel. I trust her 100%. Her work speaks for itself. She gets amazing multi-million-dollar grants, right? And she is, as you know, world renowned. She speaks across the world. And she is, I've gotten to know her over the years and kind of hear some detail on how she's doing things with MS research. And yeah, she's all of our donation eggs are in her basket. So I trust what she does 100%.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Do you have any special hopes for the future of MS treatment and patient care? Maybe because, I don't know, you had these experiences with your mom?
Just that it's easier for people, living with MS. I saw it firsthand, obviously. I know this is a while ago, and I know it's better. But just, I hate to see people in pain. And I know they call MS kind of an invisible disease sometimes because you don't really, the different stages. But yeah, just people to not be in pain.
Yeah. What message do you want to share with others who might be in a similar situation or considering supporting MS research? I mean, it would be good if there are even more events like yours.
Yeah, sure. You're asking kind of message to MS warriors or anyone who wants to donate?
Yes, warriors and maybe other family members who want to become active and support MS research.
Yeah. I would say if you have an idea, I'd say do the research, get a team, don't do it by yourself, and research and go for it. Utilize, people want to help, especially the MS community. If you can connect with others in that community, whatever that means or whatever it means to get there, I think it's worth it. If it's something you care about and it's a family member or a friend, I know they'll be very grateful for your help. And I think that's what life's about, is helping people. And so if you have the willpower and you want to help, go for it. Donate, help start an event, volunteer on an event, support us at Dunk MS, support your local, chapter wherever you are. And if we all do that, there's going to be a lot of progress, I think.
Absolutely. And that's what happened in the past. So I have some quick fire Q&A Let's see. I normally the people are kind of more involved because they have MS or they are experts in MS. So don't feel bad if it's not easy for you to answer. Complete the sentence for me. Multiple sclerosis is
a huge part of my life. In my life, is I help find a cure for it.
Yeah. Can you recommend a website for people living with MS?
To the National MS Society and Dunk MS.
And Dunk MS, yeah. And I will bring both of them into the show notes and, of course, into the blog article. Finally, what message of hope or encouragement would you like to share with individuals living with MS?
Yeah, I would say whatever you're doing, at least for me, you inspire me. I met people who have a chronic illness that it's not their fault, right? It's you're living every day with this disease. You're doing the best you can. That is inspiring to me because I don't know what I would do if I was in their shoes, and so I feel privileged and blessed and honored to have the things I have and the health that I have. I try not to take that for granted because I've seen it firsthand, go very wrong. So you all inspire me every day and a lot of others too. So just keep living, keep doing the best you can. And we're all thinking about you.
Fantastic. Most important thing, we haven't actually mentioned it. How and where can interested people find you and your event online to check?
Great question. At dunkms.com. Everything is there. The event background, all of our videos, information, tickets. If you want to just donate, we actually have a virtual silent auction. So anyone across the world can join and just simply buy a free virtual ticket for our event. And then you can also participate in our virtual silent auction. And we will ship anything directly to you that you win.
And when is it happening this year, actually?
Yes, it is Saturday, May 18th.
And if people listen to that podcast later on, you will keep on doing it every May, or? That
is the goal, yes, to do at least, if not this May, at least in the springtime every year at UCLA. Yep.
And if people can always go to that website and find the most recent events there.
Correct. Yep. We're on all social media as well. LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Dunk MS.
Okay. And I will put everything in the show notes because, as with podcast, it can happen. People listen to our episode 2 months too late for this year.
Yes.
And they might want to join the event in 2025. Who knows?
That'd be great. Yeah.
Fantastic. Blake, it was a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much for all your effort you're putting into it. And of course, thanks to the complete team. It's not just you, it's people helping there in the background who are not on the show today. And of course, have a successful event and fingers crossed you are raising the $100,000. It's great. And have a great event. And I can always, I can only recommend to go there to help, to watch. It's really fantastic what people can do, and it's fun watching. And by having a fun event and doing something good, what can you do better than that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to talk with you, and you inspire me. Thank you for all that you do as well for the MS community too. So I love what you do, and thank you for having me on here.
You're welcome. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
I hope you liked the interview. And if you love basketball, you should definitely don't miss that event. Really, it's great what people can do and how they can do magic with the basketball. So Dunk MS is really something worthwhile. And of course, it's always good if there is a lot of money, enough money to find new solutions, better solutions, to finally at one point stop MS, cure MS, but before, of course, treat MS as best as possible. By the way, next time it will be about another MS symptom, and the episode is called Overcoming MS Sleep Challenges for Restful Nights and Brighter Days. as this can really have an effect on fatigue and quite some other symptoms. So I hope you tune in again and you recommend the podcast to other people who might be interested in the content that I discuss here. And of course, if you rate the podcast, that would be very much appreciated. And as always, please stay as healthy as possible, stay as positive as possible, and hear you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening today. I hope you found it helpful. You may also be interested in the previously published episodes and posts, which you can find at ms-perspektive.com/podcast. Perspective with a K. You can also get a free PDF with 11 tips for your positive impact on MS at ms-perspektive.com/newsletter. If you'd like to get in touch, you can reach me at nele@ms-perspektive.com or on social media. Hear you next time.